Hello and welcome back to my Mass Effect Andromeda information series. My name's Josh and today we'll be talking about exploration. So exploration, of course, is a big major part of the series. It's an RPG, the sense of an open world and getting out there, and Andromeda seems to be a lot more open than previous Mass Effects. If you go back to 1, you had planets you could go to and you could land on, but they were just barren wastelands with maybe a base on them and some enemies, but that was it. They were boring. They were just annoyingly boring and just dull to explore. They weren't really fun. This game seems to be hopefully changing that. So instead of kind of having like a chunk of a planet you go to, like in the other Mass Effects, so you went to a planet and you were just in an area on a planet and you went through that area and that was it, and then you were probably done on that planet. They said you kind of have a planet, you land on it, you can explore the surface, well, probably not like a whole big area, but a good chunk of a planet. You can go underneath, there'll be like underbelly, so you basically explore planets from the surface to their underbelly. It's the idea of basically going through a whole planet and different areas for it, and multiple missions being on it. Kind of what I'm getting is the idea of basically that it's kind of going to be similar to what Dragon Age did. Dragon Age had like hubs, but really big hubs with multiple quests in them and areas to go to and fast travel points within those areas basically. So they said there's going to be, when you land on planets, you can scout the areas, and they had this in Andromeda, in Dragon Age Inquisition as well. You can scout the areas and then your crew can drop down forward stations, they're calling them, that basically give you control of that area, and basically then you can use these to fast travel around, change your loadout, crew, mates, etc. So yeah, there's kind of sort of safe areas, I imagine, a little bit kind of like little sort of towns almost, where you can go there, sort out your stuff, and you can fast travel to them. So it kind of sounds like there's going to be hubs, but big hubs, which is interesting. Really different to kind of the normal kind of, you go to a planet and that's it. And you always start at the beginning of it and you go through it. They had hubs in Mass Effect games, but you always kind of started in the same place, and kind of they were just not that big, and kind of you had a sense of you could fast travel around like the Citadel somewhat, but that was it. So there can be big hubs, optional sort of side missions. They said there's critical paths, so sort of the critical sort of priority missions, but then they have the side stuff. Loyalty missions are coming back from Mass Effect 2, which is really fucking cool. I loved the loyalty mission system. The idea of doing something personal for your crewmates, and because of that they then grow to trust you. So that's really interesting. The big thing, which has had a lot of coverage, is that the Mako's back. Now the Mako was a horrible piece of fucking shit. I'm just going to refer to some gameplay of mine from my Mass Effect 1 playthrough, just so you can see what I mean. Oh god. Oh, I hate this thing. Get off the ledge. Get off the ledge! God. Seriously, turn. Thank you. Fucking hell. No. Oh, careful. Now we're stuck. Let's just... Oh my god, I hate you. Don't make me get out and walk. No! Hang on, let's just wait for the thing to recharge and then... Oh. Right. I think we might need to get out. Oh, God's sake. Oh my god, you're joking. Oh no. See, you get an idea. It's a horrible piece of shit. My cat just jumped up on the desk. In this game, you have a new vehicle they've been working a lot on, and it was one of the first things they really showed. It's called the Nomad, and they actually spoke to the people who made Need for Speed on the handling of it. So that's really interesting. They're actually getting people who make driving games to help them with the, being EA, they have access to all that, help them with making this thing actually control really well. It doesn't have weapons on, the Mako had weapons. It doesn't have weapons on it, but you can customize it to make it look different, make it go, faster. You can make it like tougher. That kind of thing. So it's not a offensive vehicle. It's just a way to get around, which sounds really cool. It's kind of like a horse, kind of a motorized horse. They don't want to have the idea of just kind of these boring planets with just like an outpost on it, and like you used to get those mineral things you used to mine and stuff like that. They kind of want the idea to be kind of that there's narratives, story stuff happening on planets all over the planet and going across to other planets. There's going to be combat. You just find random enemies to fight out in the open, which has never been in a Mass Effect game. All the enemies you fight have been part of missions. They've never had the idea of just being in a hub and finding enemies, which is really cool. And there'll be puzzles and stuff like that as well to solve. So just really interesting way of doing things that Mass Effect's just never done. Things that are quite common in other games, but just Mass Effect has never done. So overall, a much more richer experience of just exploration. So I said about the fast travel stuff and scouting out. Also, planets have this kind of, there's dangerous things. They said there's going to be acid pools and burning wreckage and weather that can kill you. So that's really cool, kind of the idea of these hazardous planets. Something which No Man's Sky did, you know, there was really cold planets and basically you could die. You know, if you didn't have, you know, protection, your temperature in your suit went down and, you know, you started taking damage, that kind of thing. Kind of what they did touch on Mass Effect 2 a little bit. There was a mission when you go to that planet for Tally, when the sun's there and it burns you if you're out in it, that kind of thing. That sort of thing in planets would be really fucking cool to see more of that kind of thing. It said most planets will have at least one big enemy base, so maybe it's kind of an idea, or like this kind of territory thing they said about you kind of claim areas. So kind of, I think, what game did it? Far Cry 4, I think, had these bases you could go to sort of take control of. Similar kind of thing to that, so you kind of can take control of bases and there'll be like a big hard base probably for each planet. It's kind of like a big sort of endgamey kind of thing to go and take on that planet. And there'll be super bosses in the area which you can just get fucked by easily, and so you need to come back when you're much stronger. Kind of like what Dragon Age Inquisition did. They had these big fucking tough... no, my cat has just walked right into the mic, sorry about that. Big tough dragons you had to fight, and I don't think I ever actually beat any. They were like world bosses. I never beat them. I might go do that. I'm actually doing another playthrough of Inquisition at the moment. But yeah, they had these big sort of tough dragons that were fucking tough, and you needed to have really good gear. And probably maybe be on even your second playthrough with the same character. Which would be... So yeah, that kind of thing in a Mass Effect game. Again, really cool. Just stuff that's, it's not new, but it's new for Mass Effect, and that combined with the space aspect and the sort of signature Bioware story and characters. The big thing that stands out for all Bioware games is that they do characters and interactions with characters amazing. If they can combine that with some really good staples of RPGs and take note of things that have come out recently, especially, I think they're taking a big lesson from The Witcher 3. That's had a big impact on RPGs in general. People are getting tired of the same old aspects of RPGs in terms of how the story works, how the exploration works. The sort of tired old sort of method, and even, you know, people like Bethesda, Skyrim and Fallout 4 are incredibly dated in terms of the way they do exploration in an RPG. Witcher 3 was a massive leap forward in how to do RPGs, and I'm hoping Bioware are taking a massive lesson from it, hopefully. And they seem to be doing that with all these delays they've had. They still haven't actually announced a date, for Christ's sake. Another thing is Andromeda's a new galaxy that they've never been to before, so you're going to be... half of the reason you're there is to find out about it. So you can scan stuff and you can send back stuff for analysis. So you get technologies and that kind of thing. So you'll be kind of scanning your environment, and you get sort of upgrades through that. So that's quite cool. And weapons and armour and that kind of thing from scanning stuff. Of course, exploration. I've said about the stuff about how it's seamless before. You got the ship now, the Tempest I think it's called, which is very similar to the Normandy. They said Normandy of course was a signature for the series, so they wanted to bring that back. They said there's no loading screens as you move through the ship. So unlike in Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, you had the lift that took you to most of the places and there was always a loading screen. The whole ship is just one big giant area to go through all of it. So that, imagine it would be like Mass Effect 1 a little bit. Mass Effect 1 had those steps that took you down to the underground bit, and you could go around there a bit. but then you had to go into the lift to go to the rest of the ship. And they didn't have loading screens, but it had the stupid white standing on the lift whilst it was loading the background thing. Whereas this is all one big giant ship that you can go up and down stairs. There might be lifts, but there might be quick lifts. There's no real loading screens at all, which is really cool. The galaxy map's back, of course. It better have that, and I'm certain it will have that signature music. But rather than sort of you're on the galaxy map and you see the Normandy or the Tempest and you're like controlling it, going to which planet you want to go to, you kind of have the map similar to what it was in Mass Effect 1. Kind of, you get a sort of cursor to select a planet, and then you kind of sort of see on a view screen you flying through like warp space, and then through towards the planet you see the stars rushing past, that kind of thing. A sense of, I want to go there, okay, here we go, we're travelling there, and it's all seamless, and then you're just there. It seems really fucking cool, and you see it through the front window of the ship, and that's how they kind of showed that in the very first like E3 like trailer. They showed the player sort of on this control pad thing on this giant window, and you see the planet just whiz into view. It's not really quite like that, imagine that's an advertisement, that's all pre-rendered stuff, but that kind of thing is what I think they're going to try and aim for, and it seems like it's really cool. Once you pick the planet, you then go down to cargo holds, you get in the Nomad, and you land on the planet. There's a little bit of a landing sequence showing you kind of going out the ship, and then loading goes on the background then, but once you're there, that's it, you're on the planet, no more loading, that's it, you're on the planet. Seamless kind of exploration from picking a planet, driving to that planet, seeing it whiz into your front ship, pilot ship window, getting on the Nomad, going to the planet. It's all going to be seamless and all one thing, and then you're on this planet, you're on this giant hub, and you have all these areas you can go to, fast travel around. It sounds amazing, it really does. I'm super hyped for this game. Every time I hear more and more about it, I'm just so looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to it. So next time we'll be talking about combat being a big part of the game, and how it's doing the class system a bit differently this time. So that will be the next episode. I'll see you then, guys. Bye bye.